Welcome back to another episode of Recovery Unleashed with Alan. So, today's episode I want to talk about is something called, when you go into recovery, called the suggested things. You'll hear me say, in recovery, you'll never be told what to do because it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. But the three suggested things, and these are the things that changed my life. Without these, I would not be sitting here sober today, and I know that. The first thing is, and it's something I struggled with, and anyone who's gone to their first meeting will know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's meetings, and it's AA, CA, GA, NA, whatever your addiction is. There's a meeting for it, and I don't know why, but I used to have this horrible thing about going to meetings. Like I'd be panicking driving over in the car. But trust me, the first suggested thing that you need to do is swallow your pride, get humble, and go to a meeting. Right? Now, you're probably even picking up for me that I'm still nervous about meetings for some reason. But meetings is where the first bit of magic happens in recovery. You're sitting in a room just with people who are struggling like yourself. People go in and they tell their stories. You get to relate. You get to hear what other people's just their daily struggles are. As an addict trying to stay sober, but you'll get to relate, and most importantly, you'll get to know people who are in recovery. And I suggest that if you want to be sober, you go and make friends or get to know people who are in recovery because they're doing what you want to do. And when I think about meetings, like, yes, if you're anything like me, again, always my own experience, but if you're anything like me, your first meeting will be tough. I don't want to scare you off it because you're going into something that's so unnatural to you. It's like you're facing your addiction. This is my first thing that I really need to do, and I've got to do it. And from my own experience and my own insecurities and me just being me, like I'd be sitting in my first meetings and the room might be very hot. Like it could be, and I'd have a big jacket on me. But I was so nervous and full of anxiety and stress. I couldn't move. Like literally, I was stuck to my seat. I could feel the sweat dripping down my back, but I couldn't move. And this is like what addiction has done to me. I couldn't sit in a chair with a room full of people and just move myself, take off my jacket because I was too warm. And this is coming from a fella who was telling himself for the last 10 to 15 years that he's having a good time. This is a fella who can't take his jacket off in a room, you know. But that's what addiction done to me. But a meeting was one of the first powerful things that I ever done. And I met so many amazing people through it. People that inspired me and still do to this day. Of I seen people actually living lives that I wanted to live. People actually living and doing and had what I wanted. And what I got from them was that I realized they have everything that I want in life. They're clean, they look happy, you know, they're able to get into a room full of people and take off their jacket and talk. Whereas I'm just sitting there like stiff. But they had all little things that I wanted in life, and it started to resonate with me. I started to think, well, they're telling me all this stuff works. They're telling me that if I do this, I can have what they have. So that was the first thing that you'll have to do. And meetings are amazing. For anyone who's gone to meetings or you're trying out your first ones, when you go to a meeting, you leave with a sense of connection, just a sense of well being when you walk out because you've connected with people who are like you. Because I'm sure you feel in your life, you feel like an outsider to everybody. Like you're going about your daily life thinking to yourself, thinking in your own little, as you'll hear me mention, that constant chatter in your mind of, it's just me, I'm the only one suffering, I'm a bad person. Whatever your dialogue in your head, whatever negative thoughts or whatever way it might come out in your mind is, but they're all people in meetings that are just there and they want to help you. So the first thing is, and they're only suggested, I'll never tell you what to do. I'm only telling you what worked for me. But the first thing was I went to meetings. The second thing is you need to get a sponsor. Now, a sponsor is, and you trust me, when you go onto it, you'll make them out to be like a godly figure. This person with serious amount of power. But to make it simple for you and you can relate to it, all a sponsor is someone who has been through what you are currently going through, but it's just a little further down the line than you are. And all a sponsor wants you to do, or wants to do for you, sorry, I should say, is they just want to help you. You know, my sponsor, and it's someone that I'll always hold in the highest regard, an absolutely amazing person. He absolutely helped me change my life. He And the amazing thing about a sponsor is, and you've heard me mention gratitude before, this person gave up his free time from his own family, his own stresses in life, his own things that he needs to do to spend time with me to help me have a better life. And you've heard me in other videos say, give back what was so freely given to me. But that's exactly what it is. This man gave me his free time. And I tell you, some of the funny things you'll do is, for my sponsor, it's on his terms. He's giving me his time. I do what he says. When I first start meeting my sponsor, just a funny story. Well, I thought it was funny looking back on it now, but was I used to meet him at a car park at a petrol station. Sounds dodgy because that's normally what I'd be meeting people in car parks and petrol stations for. But how things change. But on this one, I used to sit in the passenger seat of his car on his lunch break from work, and we'd read the big book. Yeah, sitting in a car in a petrol station, and he'd be reading the big book to me. I'll explain more about the big book in another episode. But I remember sitting in the car with him while he was talking to me, reading out this, at the time, gibberish, absolute gibberish, and thinking to myself, what the are you doing here? Like, what is this? This is mad. You're sitting in a car with some fella you don't know, and he's reading a book to you. But what kept me sitting there, and this is the serious part, is I was desperate. He had the life I wanted. He was happy, and he was telling me I needed to do this. So I done it, and I kept turning up, and I kept doing the things that he asked. And that's what a sponsor is. They're gonna, if you're willing to put in the work, but you have to be 100% in. There's no 90, 80%. You have to give 100% in order to get 100% out. But that's what a sponsor done. And he brought me through the 12 steps. The 12 steps are one of the most powerful things you will ever do in your life. It's actually studies by doctors. And it's the only thing that people can say that actually heals addiction. Doctors cannot, for all the Scientology and doctors or whatever crap else there is out there, but they're the only thing that's proven to heal someone from alcoholism or addiction. Crazy. But the 12 steps, and I'll do a complete other topic on it, but it's an absolutely amazing, freeing experience. So your first one you have is get to a meeting. The second one you have is get a sponsor. And the third one is go through the 12 steps. There are three things you have to do in order to have the life, everything you want. And on one of them visits in the car with my sponsor, he said to me, and remember, I'm only new. I'm only just trying to get happy, just trying to stop using. And one of these things in the car, he turned around and said to me, Alan, if you do the things that I'm asking you to do, and you stick to them, and you fully commit, you'll have a happiness that you never thought was possible. Now, at the time, the happiness I wanted was just a bit of peace in my mind, to be a little bit calmer, not to be torturing myself and out of that horrible cycle I was living in. But to what happiness is now. Like, happiness to me now is, like I said in other videos, it's being at home with my partner, with my kids, the good days and the bad days when the kids are having their shift fits and you want to throw them all out the window. But it's being there, it's being present. That's being a parent, that's being a family member. That's Alan in recovery. That's Alan who's working his life to be happy. So they're the three things that you need to do. Yes, they will all seem scary, but just think of it like this. For the things that seem scary, is it not, does this not sound scarier to you? Wasting another 10 or 20 years of your life doing what you're doing now. Really, just think about that for a minute. Because 10 years goes by fast. Is trying something new that people are telling you will work and you will be happy, is it really not worth trying? So I'll leave that for today's episode. Like always, please, if you want to know more about these, how to get to a meeting, where are there meetings, how do you find them? There's online meetings. How does a sponsor work? Swallow your pride. Swallow whatever thing you're holding on to. Drop a message. Leave a comment. And finally, why not back yourself and unleash your own recovery? It's your time to be happy.